The four-season, and in particular winter capabilities of a track kit are impressive to say the least. However, an often overlooked area where a track kit truly excels is in the department of hauling big loads with minimal ground pressure. If you're in the agricultural industry, construction, or even just a hard-working landowner, you already realize the importance of multi-purpose vehicles like a side-by-side. However, you may not know the importance and advantages of reducing ground pressure. To illustrate this properly, I've done a comparison of the same vehicle with the same loads in the same conditions. I just went ahead and swapped out the tires for Trax, and I'll let the outcome speak for itself. In particular, I want to focus on the use of a Camoplast 4S UTV track that's able to be used 4 seasons of the year, hence their name 4S. However, instead of showing you its crawling and winter capabilities, I'll dive deeper into the real-world hauling capacities when compared to an identical wheeled vehicle. Our test vehicle is a 2010 Ranger 800 XP with power steering. We heavily loaded the box of the Ranger with around 1,000 pounds worth of weight, and then headed out on the trails in the mud to see how it'd stack up. Our first pass is with tires, and while on the trails we're able to steer and progress forwards, the potential for a blowout at this weight is very high. Since most of the suspension is already used up, the overall ground clearance is significantly lower due to the load, and we found the vehicle to get hung up very quickly. In the mud, the Ranger really gets bogged down, and the tires seem to find their way to the bottom of all that mud, causing us to have to move forwards very slowly. Depending on what's at the bottom of the mud holes you travel through, this would be a very bad time to experience a flat due to sharp broken roots or jagged cutting rocks. While this may seem like a worst-case scenario, if you're a farmer needing to rescue an injured animal from the mud, or a hunter wanting to pull out that trophy buck from the marshland, you want to know your side-by-side can do the job. With the Trax installed, we can see right from the start the ground clearance is much higher than stock. However, it's when we load up the box of the Ranger that we see just how much of an advantage there truly is. Out on the trails and in the mud, this will be invaluable. The reduced ground pressure that a track kit provides is due to its hugely increased footprint on the ground, allowing the weight of the vehicle and the load to be displaced over a much greater area, meaning that there's less pounds per square inch of rubber on the ground. On the same trail riding section, the track kit is easy to maneuver and steers much more precisely than with tires. The track's wider stance means they don't fall into the same ruts wheels do and are able to actually drive right over sections the tires found themselves getting caught up in. When we found the mud, the Camoplast Trax didn't skip a beat and pulled the load through the mud with ease. There was no worry of a tire failure, and we didn't have to be careful about what line we picked through. To prove the point, we thought it would be fun to reverse through the same mud hole, stop completely in the middle, and then continue back the rest of the way. Not having to focus on ground clearance or the potential of popping a tire or tearing a sidewall made driving the Ranger way easier and meant that I could focus on the task at hand and not whether I was going to get stuck or break down. After completely blowing the tires out of the water, I thought it'd be fun to climb up and over some other gnarly terrain to see just what these Camoplast 4S UTV tracks were capable of doing with the current load. It didn't matter if I was faced with hills, rocks, or downed trees, I was able to move forwards through just about anything, thanks to the reduced ground pressure and the larger, more usable footprint the tracks made. The capabilities of Camoplast tracks continues to impress me every time we put them to the test, and this being one of the toughest tests we've done, proves to me yet again that Camoplast forges the way, work or play.